guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Damian. I'm back with a Dhar MJV animations video. Sorry for the delay. I know I'm a few hours late, but I'm still uploading today, so just a few hours late today. Tomorrow and everything else will be on time. It's just late today. Sorry about that. 3 disturbing horror stories animated from 4 days ago by MJV Animations. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Damian. I don't know if I said that already. Yeah, hopefully you guys are having a good week so far. I've just been like really tired lately, but I'm tired all the time, so nothing new there. Nothing really new with me. Let me know how you guys are doing, how life is going for you guys, anything new. And yeah, if you guys want to like talk to me on Instagram, I normally reply if you guys message me on Instagram. I typically do answer, so if you guys want to chat on Instagram, hit me up. Hit me up if you want to chat. And yeah, we can chat if you guys want to. Starting. So yeah, 15 minutes, 3 disturbing horror stories animated, like I said. And yeah, let's get right to it. There's no like genre, it's just, well, horror obviously, but there's no specific.
I used to be a janitor for a high school. It was a job that I only had for about a year, and this was back in 2019.
Bad year.
The job was not too bad, but I moved on to other things later. For the most part, when I worked as a janitor,
it's always good to like advance your career, like even if you want to still be a janitor, it's always good to like get a higher increase. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you make $10 an hour now, like your next job should be at least 10, no less than that. You know what I mean? I always tell people, so, and my sister always told me, always go up, not down. So like, I'm in security now, I make almost 20 an hour, for example, so it's like, I won't go back to 18, right? Because that doesn't make any sense. You should always stay at the same rate, or obviously aim to go even higher. That's always the goal. So yeah, it's always good to go on to bigger, better things when you're ready and when you get more experience and all that. That's just a random thing that I kind of thought of for some reason, but yeah. I just remember to always kind of go upward, never go down.
I would work overnights in the high school, and typically was all by myself. I would start at 9 o'clock at night and get off at 5 o'clock in the morning. The high school was large, but not so big that I couldn't manage it.
There's a clock on the outside?
With all that time and the whole place to myself, I could clean everything that I was supposed to. A few times, due to events on the school campus, there were some people there around the time I started, but they would usually be gone within an hour or two.
I feel that.
You would expect: mop floors, vacuum, sweep, and maintain the bathrooms. Not every room in the school required attention daily, so it's not like I was cleaning every single classroom every night.
Honestly, like, big, sorry for pausing again, but honestly, if any of you guys are cleaners, like, shout out to all the cleaners, because, like, I would not want to do that job, so I fully respect anybody who does that job, because, again, it's not easy, and, like, cleaning washrooms and stuff, that's obviously not fun. So honestly, like, respect. I know they get paid, like, minimum wage, which is ridiculous, which is robbery, but, like, that's the thing, a lot of people don't do the job seriously because they're totally underpaid and they don't care about the job. Like, at least if you get paid a decent amount, or paid what you're worth, or paid what your job title is, you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, I actually have some motivation to do a good job because you actually get paid that much money. When you don't, it's just like, I'm just gonna take this vitamin before I forget. I'm low on vitamin D, so. But yeah, honestly, yeah, like, people get underpaid and then people wonder why jobs aren't done correctly. Because I'm barely getting paid jack shit. Like, what are you expecting to work for? Nothing?
I would even have some downtime where I would just go on my phone or whatever.
Alone in the building? Hell no.
It was honestly a decent job. The only downside was that I had to be nocturnal and work overnights and sleep during the day. The other downside was that I was all by myself all night in a school, which sometimes felt sort of creepy. Most of the lights would be off, and a lot of them were motion-detected lights, so they would turn on when I went near them. One night, I was working in a random hallway cleaning the floors. It was probably about midnight or 1 a.m. I remember that I thought I heard footsteps coming from not that far away. I looked over, but saw nothing. Now, the footsteps might not have been in my sight and come from around the corner. I walked over, wondering who was in here. As far as I knew, I was all by myself, like always. When I made it to the end of the hallway, I looked around, but saw nothing. I went back over to where I had been and continued work. Maybe I had just imagined it.
Honestly, at that point, I think I'd probably be out because I don't think I'd be able to do it. I do night shifts all the time. Like I just did 3 nights the other night. I'm not alone though. I have like 3 other people with me, and plus there's like again cleaning staff and things like that, and like facilities and things like that. So it's like I'm never alone in the entire building, but still just being alone in like one area of the building, just being alone, or like you think you're alone and then you're like, what's that noise? Like honestly, night shifts are pretty haunting to be honest. Like night shifts are can be very scary, not gonna lie to you guys.
I wasn't 100% sure because it hadn't been very loud. But probably 10 minutes later, I heard footsteps again. This time, I knew I was hearing it. I looked to the end of the hallway, and when I did, saw a man walking by. I only saw him for a couple of seconds because he walked past the hall to another.
Nuh-uh.
He was only visible for a short amount of time. I could tell that it was a man though, and seemingly an adult.
Old?
But beyond that, I couldn't really tell any details because he was kind of far away. I started walking over and called out, asking who was there. Nobody was supposed to be in the school at this time. Nobody answered me when I called out though. When I got to the end of the hallway and looked, he was gone.
Depending on the type of school it is and how big the school is, it should probably have security because again, if someone tries to break in, what are you gonna do? Like, you're not security, right?
There were other hallways that he could have gone down though. I walked a little ways farther, looking around and asking if anybody was there. But I saw no one and didn't hear anything either.
Hell no.
After that, I wasn't really sure what to do. I just ended up going back to work where I had been. Some time went by, and eventually I moved into another hallway. Probably 3 hours or so after the last time I saw the guy, something else happened. This time, I was facing the end of the hallway, and out of nowhere, I heard this noise behind me. I couldn't really tell what it was. I turned around and looked back, and saw a basketball rolling right in my direction. It went past me and hit a locker. When I looked up to where it had been rolling from, I didn't see anybody. I suspected that whoever was in the building stood at the end of the hallway that I was in and rolled the ball towards me. Then they moved away out of my sight.
Can you fuck off and any work? Is that possible?
I had no idea. I picked up the ball and walked to the end of the hallway.
Like, find the guy, fucking heave it at him, say get the fuck out. This was supposed to be empty except for me.
Where it had been rolled from. I called out once more, asking if anybody was there. Still, nobody answered me.
Stupid question. Of course someone's there.
I stood there in silence, looking around for like 5 minutes. I didn't see or hear anything at all. Somebody was messing with me, but I didn't know why. I mean, they weren't even supposed to be here in the first place. Once more, I went back to work. From that point on, I wasn't bothered again for the rest of my shift that day. Just before I was done, I decided to walk all around the school to look for the person. I went into every wing and hallway and asked if anybody was there in each one. I even checked all of the bathrooms, but nobody ever answered me. I didn't see anyone either.
Of course they're not going to answer you.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, I got off, and another janitor got there. I told him about what had happened and asked him to keep an eye out for the guy. Then I left the school and drove home. During this time, I was living in a small house by myself, about 10 minutes away from the school.
Well, the story's not done yet? Oh, shit.
I got back, and my typical routine was to go to bed and get some sleep. It was strange to go to sleep at like 6 a.m., but I got used to it. So on this day, it was probably 5 minutes after I got back home, and I was in my kitchen. That's when I heard a knock on my front door. Instantly, I was confused. I walked over to the living room and looked out of the front window. Nobody was there. Just off in the distance, I saw a guy walking down the street. I saw him for just a second or two.
This guy followed you home, bro.
Out of my sight. It looked like the same guy who had been inside the school. I was so creeped out. I didn't fall asleep for hours. But luckily, the man never returned. And after that day, nothing like that happened in the school ever again either. I still wonder, though, who he was and what he was doing.
Close your curtains, that might help. Before I start the next story, yeah, again, night shifts are creepy, and again, obviously make sure you're not being followed when you're going home, because it obviously can be hard to tell if you're being followed, but like obviously if you're at a building for a while and someone's out to get you or something, or, you know, I feel like it's pretty typical, especially if you're like security or, maybe if you're like an employee of a store who rejected something, or you did something at a store and then they're waiting for you aside, you know, like dead ass, like that shit happens and it's fucking terrifying.
One time, I was working in an office building. It was a pretty standard building with several floors and cubicles and stuff. The building was empty overnight as far as I knew, but I was only supposed to be working on the first floor. I was supposed to be cleaning the office area and vacuum the large amount of carpet that they had on that level, as well as cleaning some other things. This story takes place on probably my second week working there. To that point, it had been very easy. I was all by myself each night, and things were going smooth. I got
So another cleaner working night shift, great.
I worked on in plenty of time typically most nights. One random night though, it was 2 a.m. and I was changing one of the trash cans. Out of nowhere, I heard the sound of glass breaking.
Oh
I
fuck.
had no idea what was going on for a few seconds.
Security once
It
again?
was just so unexpected that my brain was trying to make sense of it. Soon though, I realized the obvious, that somebody must have broken in. That's when I realized that I might be in danger. The glass breaking sound came from a ways away. There were lots of cubicles and dividers and stuff, so whoever broke in was out of my sight. I wasn't sure what to do, so I got on the ground and crawled to a cubicle. I went inside, being as quiet as I could, and then I hid underneath a desk.
And call the police?
What I heard then was footsteps moving a ways away, but inside. I obviously didn't know who had seemingly broken into the office building or why. The footsteps started moving closer to me. I was paranoid that they somehow knew I was in here or something. They were still a long ways away, and seemed to slow down a little.
You're gonna call the
It was
cops?
at that moment when I finally had the thought to call the police, but it was so quiet in there other than the person walking that I was afraid to. If I so much as moved a muscle, I was scared the person would hear me. I was literally sitting there completely still and almost...
You have keys too. You can lock the. You can at least go into a room, make sure the door's locked behind you, and then hide somewhere in there. Again, cleaners have keys, right? So just find a room that's like more high security, and go inside and lock yourself in there.
almost holding my breath. Whoever was in there seemed to stop and was still a ways away. I didn't hear much, but could tell that they were staying in the same area. This went on for about 2 or 3 minutes if I had to guess. Then they started to walk again, and walk closer to me. For this time, they probably moved to within about 30 feet of me, and I got very nervous. I was just thinking that they might suddenly look under the desk. They stopped though, and I couldn't tell what they were doing. At that point, I really badly wanted to call the police. I just couldn't bring myself to do it though. I was convinced that if I moved at all to get my phone,
Can't you also text 911? I believe you can also text them.
the person would hear it. I reached for my pocket, but then stopped. It seemed like I was making too much noise. Then I just froze and held my breath, trying not to make a sound at all. The person remained where they were, doing who knows what. They stayed in that area for what felt like forever. I honestly don't know exactly how long it was. Maybe 5 minutes at most. But that's a long time for the situation that I was in.
Exactly.
Finally, I heard them walking back in the direction that they came from. I continued to not move a muscle. They went pretty far away, and then I stopped hearing them at all. I wasn't sure if they had left or what. I waited for probably 5 more minutes without hearing them at all. That's when I finally determined that they must have left. I finally grabbed my phone and called the police. Still, I wasn't 100% sure that they were gone, so I spoke as quietly as I could. I was told that the police were on the way, and I remained hidden underneath the desk. In the time that I was waiting, I didn't hear any more noises at all. I was able to leave the area underneath the desk, and was very sure that the person had gone. When I looked around, everything seemed to be in place. The police arrived next, and I told them what happened. One of the windows a ways away was in fact broken, but I had no clue if anything was stolen or not, because I didn't know everything that the office building had. Nothing that I was aware of was in any different place than before. After that, I was sent home because the police were going to stay there and do more investigating. I returned to work there several nights later to continue with my job. For the rest of the time that I worked there, I was nervous that something like that would happen again, but luckily there were no more break-ins. I'm not sure who exactly broke in that one night, and I never heard that much more about it.
I mean, that happening in your second week, I'd be like, yeah, I think this is wraps. I think I'm done with this job. I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm good.
For a while, I worked as a janitor at a university.
I swear to God, if this is night shift.
The college was about average size, and there were several different buildings on campus. There were a few other janitors, and we would all have certain buildings that we were assigned to clean. That would change as well, so basically I would just do as I was told. When I worked, it would mostly be the afternoon into the night. I would get off at like 10 or 11 p.m.
That's not that bad.
One night, I was working in one of the buildings that had classrooms in it. It was at the west end of campus, sort of on the edge. I got inside the building in the evening, after all the classes for the day were completed. There were still a few students around studying and such, but not very many. As the night went on, there would be less and less. Most of the time, things were very similar from one building to the other. I started cleaning some of the classrooms, and it would take me a while. By probably 9 o'clock at night, there was nobody there at all. I had cleaned quite a bit, and I was just going to finish in the building and then be done. I had about 2 classrooms left. Now, the building had several different hallways, lounge areas for studying, and then offices. I was making my way down one hallway when I heard footsteps up ahead in the distance. They were going to the direction of the classrooms I was going to be cleaning, and I was walking towards them. As I did, I saw a man walk into my view from around the hall.
He is not a college student, I'm sorry.
Then he kept going. Soon he went out of my sight. I didn't think too much of it because he was a long ways ahead of me, and I assumed that he was just a student.
Because some, like my college closes, it depends if some schools actually close. Like some universities I think are open 24/7. So even at 3 a.m. there might be a student like walking in the school, right? Which wouldn't be surprising because the school is open. So if that's the case, if this college is open 24/7, then it's like, oh, whatever. But if it's like after hours and someone's in there, then it's like...
It was unusual for people to be here so late, but he was probably just doing some late night studying. So I kept going to the classroom that I was going to work in.
Is the school open though? That's what matters.
About a minute or two later. When I opened the door and went inside, the lights were off. After turning them on, the room appeared to be completely empty. I had my cleaning cart with me with lots of supplies. I began taking some things and was going to start working. Out of nowhere, though, I heard a noise coming from my left. I looked over and saw that there was a man running towards me at full speed. It was the guy that I had seen just minutes earlier.
What the fuck?
And now he was aggressively charging me. I barely had any time to react. The only thing that I was able to do was move back and try to get to the door. As I was doing this, the man reached me. I felt him grabbing at my arm, and then he hit my back a little as I was moving away.
Oh, fuck.
Then he crashed into my cleaning cart, knocking it over, and the man fell over as well.
The fuck are you doing, bro?
I was able to get away from him and leave the classroom, but I could see that he was getting up to chase after me. I ran down the hallway and found a door that was a bathroom. I got inside quickly and then locked it. The man got there about 10 seconds later. Looking back, I should have tried to leave the building, but I wasn't very fast and thought that the man might catch me if I left. He tried opening the locked door and then started banging on it. Luckily, I had my cell phone on me.
Call, please.
And I dialed 911. As I got on the phone with the police.
Again, is there security in this building? There should be. If it's a college university, it definitely should have security, so...
The man was still ruthlessly banging on the door.
If you guys are wondering why I keep mentioning security, it's because I work as security, and this is like, you know... This is something that building should have, security.
I didn't know what on earth his problem was. He continued to try to get in the door.
All I can imagine is my own this.
I was worried that the door would break, even though it was pretty strong. It seemed to be holding up pretty well, though. The man did not let up and continued. The more he hit it, the more the door seemed to shake. But I soon heard the sound of other people in the building, and I knew that it was the police. Before I knew it, they reached the man and stopped him from trying to get in. They left the building with him, and I came out to see several police officers standing around. I found out that the guy wasn't even a student at the university.
No, really?
I still don't know why he tried to attack me and then chased after me. I don't know what his problem was. Clearly, he was dangerous. He must have hid in the classroom, but I don't think he knew that I would go in there. Maybe he was mad at me for entering the room. I still don't know. But after that, I never had any experiences like that. I worked at that school for about another year, then I moved on. That was the most memorable moment from my time there.
That sounds terrifying. Not even most memorable, just fucking... Like, just imagine someone just... Bro, like... Obviously, he called the police, which is great, but it's like... A security, again, it's a college. Colleges have security. So, they should have told security too, but, I mean, obviously the police at that moment too. Because they're actually armed and they can actually help. But why would you want to... Why would people want to break into school? When I went to school, I wanted to break out. Wonderful stories, thank you. How much do janitors make? Dude was living in a house by himself off cleaning toilets. They can make anywhere from $27K to $45K. In the US, the hourly wage is about $17. And calculate that how you will with bills and stuff. I'm not in that part of my life yet. He said he had a small house, or it could have taken place somewhere else in the world. I came in a hospital with no kids. And single, and it's pretty sweet. But again, cleaners I do think still get underpaid. But I don't know why it just says disturbing horror stories. Just say 3 disturbing housekeeping horror stories. Or janitor horror stories. Come on now. But honestly, yeah, being a janitor, again, like, props to you guys, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Anyways, guys, this also can be like life lessons sort of thing, because then it's like, oh, like, this person did this in this scenario, what would I do? Some scenarios you just have to like live it and then know how to react, because anybody could just say, oh, well, what would you do in this case? I don't fucking know. I would like to think I would do this, but will I? Who knows, right? So you just never know. So yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, comment down below. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications as well. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces. Peace.